Hello and welcome to Ditching Hourly. I'm Jonathan Stark. Today I am rejoined by repeat offender Zach Stevens. Zach, welcome back.
Hey, Jonathan, triple threat.
Yes, this is like our annual "How's Zach's Business Going" review. We're a little
Exactly.
late. It's January 2026, but you came on in 2023 and fall of 2024, and we'll call this one fall/winter of 2025.
There we go.
And yeah, so you reached out over email and said, I guess I had posed some questions last time that you have answers to now that were maybe a little too tricky to do on the fly. And yeah, and just see where the business is going. So if you could start off by telling folks a little bit about who you are and what you do and why your business is so interesting or potentially interesting to our listeners.
Sweet. So I'm Zach. I am one of the co-founders at Conversion Factory. We're a marketing team in a box. So copywriting, design, and web dev all under one roof. And we help software companies, build their marketing engine and turn traffic into revenue without having to add on additional staff or additional stress. We just project manage everything and get you not only from ideas that a marketer could come up with, but then actually implement a lot of the things that help boost your customer acquisition. And the first reason that I came on was because my agency, I think within it was like 3 months, it was just me and two other co-founders, and we were doing $36,000 a month within 3 months of launching.
Hmm.
The second time around was because I had a year's worth of then running a shop like that under my belt. And now the reason that we are speaking is because you had posed some questions over email, which is, what are you excited about for next year? And this is back in 2025, but
Right.
now it being 2026.
Mhm.
And I said, well, Conversion Factory had its first six-figure month in December, which is freaking nuts. I didn't think that, wasn't sure that would happen with it. I'm sure it would happen eventually. Wasn't sure it would happen so quick.
Yeah.
And now we have a team of 12. So I was going to speak about, well, what does it look like transitioning from being, I was a solo business owner from 2017 until 2023. And then it was just me and three co-founders. Now we have a team. So understanding what that transition looks like, what does it feel like to do six figures in 1 month? And then also answering the last question you posed to me, which was, why is the subscription model a good thing for soloists? Which I didn't have great answers for,
Mhm.
but now I think I do.
Okay, cool. So I don't know how like you just mentioned it, but I don't know how explicit it is to the listener that you guys are a subscription business model.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's the thing that's really novel, because otherwise, you could be a billing by the hour kind of agency that does marketing stuff for SaaS, but your positioning is like laser focused. It's right in the name, and and you actually, and it just rolled off your tongue too. You were like, turn traffic into money, or it just like rolled right off your tongue.
Mhm.
And the subscription model makes it really easy for clients to kind of like engage. It's like easy to get your head around. There's no like sales call at the beginning. It's like swipe your credit card and let's go. I'm oversimplifying it, I'm sure, but
Mhm.
it's like hot and cold running marketing. Just like turn the spigot and here it comes, which is a model that a few people in Ditcherville use with great success. If you want to be doing the work, it is a fantastic, stable model. And I know, people that didn't scale up headcount wise that are just maxed out, just over capacity, sold out. It's like, well, raise your prices. Um, but okay. So with all that said, sort of like my cheerleading for the subscription model, let's start here. 6-figure month, very impressive, but it's not two people or three people anymore. It's 12 people. So
Right.
is that strategically, what was the decision to start hiring, or how did that whole process happen?
Yeah. Well, you hit a good point of you have two options when you're running this subscription model. You can raise your prices, and that's not a bad means of going about doing this if you want to do the work. I think that me and my co-founders were in a position where we we have a set amount of things that we do really, really well, and we could keep doing them, but it got kind of, I don't want to say boring, because the projects do individualize quite a bit between them, but we were more interested in building something that could scale
Hmm.
and being like, I have this vision of being kind of like the Chick-fil-A for marketing, which is, it's not quite the, like catering that you get for your wedding, but it's very accessible and it's still a premium brand, and it's very simple. Like you show they serve chicken. It doesn't really deviate that much. And we wanted to try our hand at building something that was scalable. In addition to the
Hmm.
fact that we also in hiring out some help because I had my first kid in 2024, which was a big reason why we started adding on additional hands. Um, and we found the love of delegation. It was like, this is great. I can give direction to somebody, I can coach them. And when I come back from doing big, heavier thinking or just planning out where we want to go next and doing some more marketing initiatives for ourselves, then the client work gets done. And we found that to be a greater sense of fulfillment than getting in and doing the work ourselves.
Right. Okay. So the project of working on the business became more interesting than the craft, doing the activities of your craft. So
Exactly.
so as many people know, I'm not a fan of hiring. I'm not against it for other people, but I don't talk about it that much. I never talk about leadership things or employee development or anything like that because I have almost no experience with it. I've managed employees and it wasn't for me. So, what can you say to the people in the audience who uh, aren't allergic to employees the way I am? First, I think it'd be interesting to talk to the extent that you can talk about the compensation model for the employees, given that you're a subscription shop. So, are they W-2s or are they contractors? Is it a rotating cast of characters, or do you have like a specific? So, like this is the team right now.
Now we have so all of our employees are like they're from all over the world. So my two main designers that I work with, one's in Brazil and then one is in Colombia, and we just brought another full-time one from Macedonia. So we have them going on a monthly basis where they have a set fee, they know what they're supposed to be working on. And the way that we gauge it is we tell them you have a lot of ownership over this and a lot of freedom. Like, my designer in Brazil repeatedly tells me, he's like, I typically work 6 hours a day, and then I'm home free after that. And it's usually he's up before I am because I'm on the West Coast. So he's done, and then he goes home, and he's compensated. He's in like the top 1% of his country now because of the wage we're able to pay him,
Uh
which is
huh.
a good means for us because it's high quality work. And now he's rich. So it's a fantastic trade off. So the compensation model is on a month to month basis. We do have our core group that we use between copy, design, and web dev. And now we're trying to get that vetted bench built out for if we do have to scale up, or we don't have to bring somebody on with the anticipation of it being full time, but we have someone who we could reach out to, and then growing those core designers to be creative directors, or if they're marketers, having them become marketing strategists
Hmm.
and do what we've done, which is duplicate ourselves. Like, I have two mini me's that understand my design philosophies and my best practices, to the point where they're even using my pull string phrases with clients, like, hey, so and so, please take a look at this design file and this overview video, let me know if we missed the mark anywhere, verbatim. Like,
Hmm.
that's awesome, you're doing exactly the way that I would.
Yes. All right. How much? So I'm gonna poke holes in some things. So bear with me.
Mhm.
How much training goes into getting someone to that point? Maybe not to that point, but getting someone productive. And what's that onboarding look like? There's got to be. They must be getting paid to onboard, but are they actually doing client work? Are they profitable? How long does it take to get to profitability? How long do they stick around? Do they leave with all that training and copy you and do the same business model?
So I'll answer the first question, or the last question you gave, which was, do they leave? And the answer is no. They don't leave. Andre, the first designer that we hired, has been with us since August of 2024,
Hmm.
and it's a decent amount of training. The cool thing about training is that you do it once, record yourself on Loom doing it, and you build out an SOP playbook over time with that first person. The book that I've been reading as I was doing this was a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan
Yeah.
Martell.
Right.
Yeah, great book. Uh, and every time that I kind of hit this pain line, I was like, what needs to change? And at the time, it was, we have too many clients. I'm a new father. I'm sleep deprived. I'm like at 50% capacity right now. There's no way I'm going to be able to perform to do this. So I need hands to like help me with this stuff.
Right.
And I could get hands it was having them see design the way that I did, where it's like design is subservient of marketing, and we have to build website pages that work for our development team. It can't just be whatever we want to create and design. We work within these systems. So
Yeah.
it uncovered a lot of systemization within my process that I was then able to codify and give to other designers as they came in. And it still happens. Like, you uncover just a nuance to, client throws a curveball at them. You're like, oh, this is how I would respond to that, because I've done it, for almost 10 years now, being on
Mm.
my own. So that's the first question, right? They don't
They
leave.
don't leave.
No. What does it look like to, and granted, like I said, we're paying them a
Yeah, they're
good
rich.
amount of money. Yeah, they're rich. And I mean, compared to US rates, it's quite low. And that's the cool thing about the world that we live in now, is they have access to the same internet you do.
Hmm.
And they're just as talented and capable and smart. The only thing they've got you beat on is they have a cool accent, you don't. Or at least that's the way I thought about it for myself.
I've heard horror stories about cultural differences around communication skills, of course, and time zone, if they're dealing directly with clients, and also, for lack of a better term, like a more relaxed work ethic. So I don't know if that, I'm kind of interrupting my other monolithic question that you're working your way through, but it doesn't sound like you've encountered too much of any of those things.
Some of it is like, for example, we had a teammate who would always ask the question, "Hey, how's it going?" on their Loom videos, like when they first started, or they'd put that in at the beginning of responding to a client. And everything else after that was totally coherent and fine, well written English. And I said, "Hey, don't start your videos with this question, because you're
They
asking a
can't.
question you're not going to get an answer to.
Right.
So just be more direct." And that's fine. Like we coach through that, and it small pain point to have for the amount of time I'm getting back, not
Hmm.
having to go and
Right.
implement client work.
Yeah, that's tiny.
And we do a lot of training. I think Andre, the first designer we hired, was doing stuff behind closed doors, where I was still interfacing with the clients, and because we were just testing this out, like,
Hmm.
how's this going to go? Can I even do this? And he was doing stuff for 6 or 7 months before I said, "Yeah, go
Hmm.
ahead. Like, talk to the clients. What I would say in certain situations. Obviously, there's going to be some things you can't answer, and that's okay. Then
Hmm.
you escalate it to me. Most of the design delivery and feedback, you should be able to take one on one, though."
Okay. Cool. But that was
Yeah,
after 6 months of you guys working together. You had built up trust, and he was familiar with things. And okay.
exactly.
Okay. So I don't want to jump around too much. I'll try and ask shorter questions. Just to give folks who are considering scaling up with hands, how do you find the talent and vet them?
We had a couple different means. There's obviously companies like Somewhere, which is formerly Support Shepherd, which charges a quite a hefty penny for getting their help. I think it's like $7,000 or $8,000 just to get the role landed. We used specifically for creative talent. We used a company called Remote Growth Partners.
Hmm.
Shout out Jason for helping us find our designers, which was fantastic. I think I got very lucky because Andre was very easy to work with. Whereas if I had a bad first hire, it might have left a really sour taste in my mouth.
Right.
But Andre's been fantastic, and Jason's team helped us find them. That's Remote Growth Partners. We also did some other stuff through JobRack. I mean, there's a bunch of companies out there that do this for things specific to something like Webflow. We used Flow Remote, which is just a more specialized kind of job posting for specifically for Webflow developers. So it's out there. I mean, just freaking Google it or chat GPT it. You'll find
Right.
something, I'm sure, that will help you source the talent. And then they check for things like their English competency. It's one of the requirements. They have to send a Loom video showing their communication skills. So they cover a lot of that, which is really nice.
Hmm. Yeah, that's hard for people. I know people who are still using Upwork for things, and it's hard. It's Upwork's so big that it's almost like you're like, "Am I talking to a real person here?" Or like
Yeah. A
they won't turn
big
their camera on, and
That was a big, like, so we included in our descriptions, like, you must send a video, your camera must be on. Like, if you're going to do this, we
Mm,
need to make sure that you can actually eventually communicate with clients,
hmm.
and you have to send this video. It's a non-negotiable. And that's a cool filter, because if I don't send the video, no, I
Yeah.
don't care how good your portfolio is, you can't follow instructions.
Hmm.
So you're out at that point.
And did you have, when you're looking for a role, do you typically have like a ton of people to sift through, or is it a not that many?
Well, for the design hires, that's what we had the recruiting partner, remote growth partners for.
Hmm.
So they narrowed it down to, like, their top five.
Okay.
And then I got to watch their Loom videos. I got to see their Figma files, go in and see, is there enough raw material here for me to shape into somebody that can work with Conversion Factory,
Hmm.
or not? And then I would jump on interviews, and some of the interviews didn't go really well, and that's okay. It's no different than a sales interview, talking to a prospective client. You're talking to a prospective hire. Some of them are going to be really great, and some are going to really suck.
Yeah.
Um, and then you find the ones that are good. And if it's, I mean, I don't know what I was doing the first time. I think I lucked out with Andre.
Uh-huh.
I, I think that it's just like any other skill. You develop a sense of what's going to be a good fit, what's not. What are some things that I know now that I didn't know previously when I was hiring that I would look for on this one, or like buying a house.
Yeah.
Like, what would I just bought a house. Great. There's so many things about this house that I dislike. How do I change that?
Hmm. So other than maybe using a partner like Remote Growth Partners, what are some of those things that you learned for people to maybe not have to learn the hard way in terms of?
Uh-huh. I think making sure that what you want that person to do. Like, if you are expecting them to go speak with clients and do Webflow development, you need to understand that they have to fulfill both of those. It can't be well, they're really good at Webflow, or but they're not really good at this. Like, it doesn't matter. The thing you need is time back. And if you can't get the whole picture, just wait. Like,
Mm,
keep going until you find the one who is going to be a good fit,
mm,
because it's not worth it to hire incorrectly, even with us, because everybody was on a contractor basis. There was no penalties if we let them go afterward. And it still could have been really annoying to have to just go through that. Or even with people that were really good Webflow developers, we ran into an issue where it's like they can't talk to clients yet, but they've
mm,
done such a good job for us that now we're investing to buy them things like, pronunciation courses,
yeah.
and better equipment for recording videos and microphones. So I think understanding the totality of the responsibilities that this person could undertake
Hmm.
is important.
Okay. So be patient and wait for the perfect fit, basically. So
Yeah.
that's great advice, actually. Um, you mentioned one of the newer people like is done before you wake up. So do you have any time zone issues, or like what if they're starting to? It can't be totally asynchronous if they're client facing. So how does that work?
But he's not done before I wake up. He's
Oh,
he's already like halfway through his workday by the
okay.
time I get up. And that's actually not true. I'm up quite early. I'm up at like 4:30 or 5, but I'm not at
Yes.
my computer. I'm doing jujitsu and other stuff that I like to do,
Okay.
because I have employees that can work on other stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
um, yeah, I would meet with him when he first started. I would meet with him 2 days a week, and that was to really get him up to speed and coach and say, "This is what I expect. This hit the mark. This did not. This went well. This did not." And that was, all through the training. And then he ended up becoming more like me,
Mm,
and by virtue of osmosis and being around me. So there's no time zone issues. The only thing that is sometimes bothersome is we'll have clients that won't respond until like 5:30, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time,
mm-hmm.
even though our team responded really early, and then the clients just don't get back to it. So that can lead to somewhat of a gap, but then they're up early again the next day and they get right to it and respond. So as long as we're able to keep this, 12-hour response timer within 24 hours, most people don't notice.
And it is all you're not having meetings anyway. It's all asynchronous, like videos
Yeah,
and
with the
that.
exception of a couple different, like, I meet with the design team once a week but it's not even really it's because they're managing 12 different clients, or more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm checking in on them personally. Like, hey, how's your mom? I know she was sick. Are you doing okay? And
Mm-hmm.
it's more team oriented. It's not always about the work, because the work is quite easy. As for us, we're really good at it.
Hmm.
I'm more interested in their personal development of like, well, what's next for you? How do you want to be a better designer in 2026? And checking in on that more frequently, as opposed to, hey, you got to move these pixels this way. I could do that over Loom asynchronously.
Right. But when we say client facing, when I was talking about time zones, they're not having client meetings, right? They're
No, the only time they have client meetings are when we do foundational workshops. So if we're doing a brand strategy workshop, then I will meet with the client and I'll have the other designers come with me. That's about an hour. Or if we're doing a sitemap workshop for information architecture or a positioning workshop with the marketing team, then we'll get other people on board.
okay.
But they have no issue. They usually work US hours and they're happy to do so because, again, we're paying them at the top 1% of their wages.
Right, right. Okay, so let's switch over to the client side a little bit more. All right, I don't remember the numbers. What has been the sort of, if you can share, the client count growth? Like when you were getting really busy, how many clients was that? When in 2024?
Well, 2024 wasn't, I think that it wasn't the heaviest that we actually
Okay.
had as far as client load. Um, I think our high in 2024, we hadn't yet cracked that 83,330 $334, which is the amount you need per month to hit $1 million a year. For those who don't know, it's kind of it's a well-known number within SaaS. We have socks that have that number on it that get a lot of kicks. Um,
Okay.
but I think, let's see, in
Well, how do you even think of it? Is it like a per employee? Is that more important
yeah,
than?
so the goal is that the one designer. I'm just going to speak from the design team's perspective because the same thing translates to marketing and web dev.
Mhm.
Um, the sweet spot is between 5 and 7 or 8 clients, like between 5 and 8. And if we start hitting that point where I have 2 full-time designers and both of them have 8 tasks each, or 8 clients that they are working with,
Mm.
then it's a signal to us that we are going to need some additional help, because if we take on another client, they're going to be strapped and not be able to produce. So the numbers work out on that basis, where we know that at a minimum we should be able to get 5 clients worked on. And I'm still coming into and doing stuff like creative direction and approving things. If it's logo design, I'm still coming in and doing finishing touches and being the last person to see the plate before it goes to the table, type of deal.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So do you, when you're getting to that point where it's like, geez, we might need to bring on a couple of more people, because you'd need to bring them on in like each department. I guess the work it's a little, must slosh around a little bit. Like you don't always need one person from each department, right?
No, and it depends. So copywriting, the marketing team can use AI a lot more effectively than the design team can, because I mean my co-founder just put out today it's like a cloud code thing for marketers, and it's already up like, I think, 15,000 likes or something like that on Twitter. Yeah. Um, so they're able to use AI a lot more. Like the impact that one copywriter can have across all their work is, they can essentially be a creative director and have AI come in and help them quite a bit. Whereas design, it's not. And I think I said this the past 2 times I was on. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
It's helpful. We use AI for quite a bit. It doesn't complete the job fully. So design has the most variance between intensity of project. Like,
Hmm.
it could be I need business cards designed. Great. 20 minutes. No problem. Here you go.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
fantastic. You're not going to have any revisions apart from maybe getting the right phone number on there. And then it could be something like, I need an entire homepage redesigned and we don't have a creative direction yet. We don't even know what our typefaces are going to be or colors or anything like that. So we're starting from a lot of creative mess there.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's usually based on feel, because especially once we're past a lot of the initial phases of getting a client from 0 to 1,
Hmm.
then the work becomes a lot easier. But if we have a lot of 0 to 1 projects, then I think at that point, before hiring, I would probably come in and help. And I could take on these two. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I've got enough time. It's And then asking the team, how are you doing? How's your workload?
Hmm.
Do you feel okay? Are you overwhelmed? And today, I had both my designers say, I'm good. I feel really good. Like I'm kind of in a dead zone actually right now. Do you have anything else that I could work on?
Mm,
So,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's jump back a little bit to the way that for people who haven't listened to previous episodes, how are these sort of I don't want to say tickets, but like when a request comes in, how does that work? And you described two vastly different scopes of work between the business card and the brand new homepage for a brand new client that you don't have any, there's it's all squishy still. You don't have any definition around what they actually want. If the existing website, they hate it and there's nothing else to look at, or it's a new company.
Mhm.
So how do you manage the expectations around that with someone who sends in a request for like, yeah, we need a brand new homepage page from scratch?
I tell them, say, okay, here are your options. We have a framework that we use called REO, not to be confused with REO Speedwagon, but it stands for Revolution, Evolution, or Optimization, and this applies to some of the foundational things that we do. So a revolution would, like in the context of design, is we're turning everything on its head. Even the name of the company is potentially on the line
Mm,
because you have no brand equity, and it's essentially a blank slate. There's a whole lot of things that we could do to make this awesome. And I have a video going over this that I've recorded that breaks down these three options and the trade-offs that go between them.
hmm
And I have the client pick. I say, I think that you should be doing, I'll pick which one I think is going to be the best fit for them. I say, how does it sound to you? In addition to what you just heard, and I lay out this is how long a revolution should take, this is how long an evolution should take, and this an optimization is us essentially just refining what's already there. There's just not a lot of groundwork to lay. It's more about the execution that needs to change.
hmm And but how does this fit into the subscription model? Like if they can have like,
I see. Okay.
yeah,
Um, we the it's okay to use sentence enhancers on the show, right? Okay.
sentence enhancers.
Uh, our rule of
Oh,
thumb
yes.
is when it comes to tasks and the atomization of them, don't be a dick about it. Like, because we're not going to have like a freaking table of like this is how many social posts we can do. It's like, okay, you need a bunch of graphics for Twitter, like or Google. You're running a set of ads.
hmm
I know that we can do 10 in a batch, and that's going to be a good amount. Like that's worked in the past.
And that counts as like one request or
That's
something.
one request, yeah.
Okay.
Or we'll try and if it's the things that are a little bit more bulky, like for example, if we're doing feature pages follow a little bit more of a templated format, and we have things that we know are best practice. It might vary a little bit between clients, but our first step in that is let's create a template for copy. And then once we get the template done, we'll use one as a sample. We can write out the framework that we're going to use on that page. And then copy can batch the remaining 3 to 4 other feature pages that are going to go in there. And they just work on those in
Mm,
at one time. After we've got the foundation set. And we do the same thing for design. Copy passes this over to design. That becomes one task where design creates a page template for a feature page. Once we have the template agreed upon, then we can fill in everything else because we're replacing graphics and content and icons and reskinning what should be a very similar layout across the page.
okay.
And then the dev team has it even easier because they're uploading things and content at an even faster rate. So we batch as much as we can. It's essentially whenever there's something net new or that requires a different skill set, then we split it, and that's for two different reasons. Net new creative it's totally new. We just want to start from a blank slate, and then we want to keep the feedback siloed as best we can. Like you are giving feedback on the copy, that's it, and
hmm
we are just going to work on the copy because the words that you say are the most important thing on any kind of deliverable that
hmm
we provide for you.
Yep.
Design supports the marketing, and that's why we only want you to give feedback on design. Like you were focusing on this right now, and then we are going to approve that. Once that's done, then dev should only be able to focus on technically implementing this, and
hmm
then we're good.
Okay. So just paint the picture for me. So a client, new client, first thing they throw in there is like a new homepage, please. And you say, okay, this is a project, basically. We're going to break it into a bunch of subtasks. And then, uh, And all of the back and forth for something like that is done asynchronously, or
All of it. Mm-hmm.
wow, that sounds frustrating to the client. It sounds like clients would get frustrated with that. Is that not the case?
Well, some of them aren't cut out for it, and we,
Clients are a choice, exactly.
yeah, we make it a point. We say, look, we don't do meetings on the fly. We're not going to. We send very detailed Loom videos and our explanations of why we did things. If that is not going to work for you, then we're not a good fit,
Okay,
and
that's cool.
that's okay.
Right. Um, okay, so but if you send the Loom video, I guess I don't know if I'm curious about this. I'm not sure if it's a waste of time for the listener. That's why I'm hesitating. Um, but it sounds impossible is where I'm getting at. But it's not impossible because you're doing it. So do I need to go into the details or ask you to drag you into the details? We're probably at a level of detail that's overkill. And if I dug any deeper, it'd just be more overkill, because basically what we're saying is it is possible and you have to figure it out. And if that means only working with certain kinds of clients, which I love, then that's the way it works. So find your own way, do it your own way. The key, I think, a key piece to the model, though, is that there are no phone calls. If you
Yeah.
had phone calls, that would be typically that is a monster time suck.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a time suck just on the calendar, and then also your productivity afterward. Everybody thinks that, like, I'm going to jump into this meeting, and then right after I'm going to jump in and get to deep work. And you're going to have a half-hour gap
Yeah.
at least trying to get your head back into the space where you're going to go in and do something really impactful.
Mm-hmm.
You're fooling yourself if you think that's not the case. Uh, I've always thought, if we were to run this subscription, I haven't put the numbers out there because I haven't thought of it, but let's say if you wanted to have one call a week, we'd probably tack on an additional $7,000 to our price tag. If you want to call, that's going to cost you.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I agree with you. I think I'm super anti phone call. They're incredibly inefficient, and they are, especially I mean, this isn't the case here, but like in an employee-employer situation, when the employer wants to always jump on a call, I guess it's the same with a client. If they always want to jump on a call, a lot of times it's because they haven't taken the time to actually figure out what their question is or what they want. And so they just
Yeah.
brainstorm it live, and then you're just listening to, and then finally at the end of 45 minutes, you finally understand what they're asking you. And it's like, it should have been an email or something.
Well, you're speaking about my origin story for not wanting to do this anymore. The client calls. We had somebody who I wrote out a response, like, and said, because they had some questions, and I wrote it out, and they said, we feel like we really need to call. Said, okay, fine. Like, I'll get on the call.
Yeah.
And I got on the call, and they asked me the same questions, and I gave the same answers that I wrote down,
Yeah.
exact same to the word, because I read it off of this. And then when I was done saying what I was repeating, I said, do you realize that I just said everything that I wrote? And they're like, yeah. So please don't waste my time again with these calls. They're no longer a client, not a good fit.
Yeah. Right.
And now when we're on sales calls, I have five working criteria for Conversion Factory. One of them is we don't do calls except for these things, which we have predetermined warrant a call.
Mm-hmm.
We send Loom videos. We do comments in Notion. We do comments in Figma. That's it. How does that sound to you? And I get them to agree to it on the call.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a super effective means of setting expectations.
I know. So I have there's a book called The Superstruct Manifesto by David Gutman, and he has a chapter on how bad daily stand-ups are for developer productivity, because he says it's like you're going down to the bottom of the ocean to dig a trench, and you got to get the gear on and jump out of the boat and get all the way down there, and finally you're productive, and then someone pulls on the rope and it's like, oh, could I just talk to you for a second? You got to go all the way back up, take off all your gear, and then they ask you something that could have been an email or wasn't urgent or whatever. And he's got a whole framework for dealing with it too. So if folks want to check out that book, you probably
I love that analogy. That's great.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good, nice short book. It's good. Okay, so I think the big takeaway here is being really choosy with clients. So like if people are listening and they're like, oh, that would never work with my clients, you're probably right. It probably wouldn't. That doesn't mean there are no clients that it would work for.
I think it depends because and you'd be really surprised at the people that do this. Like we had one of our clients was $55 million short of $1 billion last year.
Okay.
Like huge. I'm talking like they own a freaking basketball stadium. And we worked with them for just shy of a year
Hmm.
and they were paying us they wanted more. We offer one first, second, and third floor. They wanted a fifth floor to keep working with us and get more done.
Hmm.
Everything async. And they were totally fine with it. They liked it. So
Wow.
it's not like you're limiting yourself based on like that criteria for working with you.
Right.
And if that's the way you like to work, it's the way I like to work,
Me too.
then
Yeah.
yeah. And I think most really impactful and productive people want that time for themselves. It's like,
Hmm.
I need to make stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Don't interrupt my thinking because this is where the magic happens.
Right.
So there are clients out there that are very wealthy that will pay you for this and they don't require a call.
Yes. Excellent point. I'm glad you shared that anecdote. Um, yeah, there's weirdos like us out there, clients who don't want to jump on a phone call either. It was never a big deal for me with client work because, well, for whatever reason, it just was never abused.
Hmm.
I would jump on a call, but I always worked with really high level executives and they were busy and they had no reason to call me. So never was a problem. But I remember one that was explicitly like, I don't want any developers interrupted ever. Never interrupt the developers. I was like, wow, right, sweet. We're on the same page there.
Mhm.
Because I feel the same way. It's like you have one phone call. It's like, and you know what's coming. It's 10:30 and you know you have a call at 11. Are you going to
Yeah.
start something? No. You're going to
No.
check your email or check your phone and then, or whatever, get a snack, and then you're going to get on the meeting. It nukes probably at least a half an hour on both sides of the meeting.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, we could go that's an entire rabbit hole of
Yeah.
productivity in
Yeah.
and of itself. Just ask Cal Newport.
Right. See Cal Newport.
Mhm.
All right. So let's Cal can take it from there. Take it from here. Um, let's jump back to AI, which you touched on a little bit. So obviously, it sounds like the copywriting arm of the business is using it heavily. Or even inside of that, how do those folks use it in a way that you think it is ready for prime time, unlike design, which you don't think it's ready? So it is ready, but it can't be great at everything. Like what are the ways that the copywriting department, if you will, is using AI productively?
I can't answer this as thoroughly as I'm sure you would like to because that's not my department. That's my co-founder Corey's team.
Okay.
Um, Let me try. And Corey, if you end up listening to this, sorry if I
We'll do a follow-up.
don't do it well. Well, think about what um, even something like ChatGPT. Like, what is ChatGPT really, really good at? Language. It's a large language model.
Hmm.
That's what it is par excellence at.
Hmm.
So if you can give it, your custom GPTs and say, this is my homepage GPT that I have and Corey's done this. He's
Hmm.
curated all these different homepages that we have made for clients that it's able to pull in all that data. It can now write like we would on those homepages or a feature page or pricing page
Hmm.
based on that client. Uh, and it does really well because it's spitting out words. The deliverable for that team is words.
Yeah.
It's not like a web page design or a web page build, although it's funny. I feel like design's the one that's not really up for the task right now, but web dev is slowly catching up. And with Cursor's new updates that I haven't gotten to play with yet, I think there's a lot of things that could be done on the web dev side.
Hmm.
But as far as copywriting goes, it's because the deliverables words, and it literally gives you words
Yeah.
that you can then work with and change or sometimes deliver.
Yeah. It's the sweet spot for an LLM, obviously. So, what does that mean for you? Do you think in the future? So, if like, because I've seen some sick stuff, like actual developers, but who vibe coded some really sick stuff, and it's if it's not there, it's pretty close to like
Yeah.
very good. Cory Doctorow would disagree. He thinks it's like digital asbestos, and you know, the next generation is going to spend their entire lives cleaning it out of the walls. But I don't know if that's true. And um, what would that? I mean, I suppose the answer is obvious, but what would that mean for you guys? Would you adopt that? Sounds like copy Corey has in the copy side
Yeah.
of the house. Would you just be like all in on that?
Of course. Like if we found that the tool was able to hit our standards and help us achieve it at a faster rate, because you're a musician, so what happened when the synthesizer was introduced
Yeah.
to music?
Didn't ruin music.
It didn't ruin music. What happened when the guitar went electric? It
Yeah.
didn't ruin music. It gave people like Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan
Right.
and Jimmy Page another tool or another arrow in their quiver to perhaps do some things they couldn't have done before, like the
Yeah.
Edge, where like his entire repertoire and sound is not based on killer solos. It's based on overuse of effects and particularly dialing them in.
New palette. Right. And yeah, even sampling, which people drum machines. Oh my God, the pearl clutching when drum machines came out. But whatever, they didn't really replace anything. They're just a new thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, so is that how you feel about this? It's not going to replace anything, or is it going to be able enable you to create something that was previously impossible?
What do you mean by replace? Like replace a team member
Yeah,
or
like every drummer I knew when the TR-808 came out, they were like, "Uh-oh, that's not real." They were all against it. Like, that's not real drumming. That doesn't sound good. I'm way better than that. And it's like that's not the point. It's different.
no? Yeah. And man, it's a philosophical question.
Right, it is.
Um, yeah, but in the context of drumming, when did the 808 come out? I don't know the year.
Late early 90s maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay, early 90s. You have Dave Grohl who comes on and smashes it for Nirvana. You have, I don't know the drummer's name, but the guy from Tool who is
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic
yeah, I don't know
and
his
brings
name
some
either.
things. Yeah, but he's friggin' phenomenal. Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Travis Barker from Blink 182.
Yep.
Like the drum machine didn't kill drumming. It just, you still have people who want to make stuff by hand and they bring in a different perspective that hasn't you haven't heard the drums done that way before, and it might be so different and new because you have all this homogeneity that has come through with uh, like speaking about music. The same thing can be applied to copywriting, design, or web development. It's like your perspective matters still,
Mm.
and it's going to be an amalgam of all your different experiences. Is kind of my manifesto for brand identities, which is great brands aren't created, they're stolen. What they're stolen from is the things that make you you. Like Liquid Death is a water company,
Mm.
but the reason it's so impactful and different is because their founder is a skater punk metal dude who merged those things with water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great example. So, I mean, it remains to be seen, but you are, I mean, if it got there, you would use it and you guys are experimenting with it. And are you bullish on it? Like, do you think it's going to keep getting better? Or do you think we're going to have like an extinction level event and it's going to be, like,
I think it's getting better. There's other tools like specifically for design, like node-based editors, which are really cool that give you the ability to combine, like actually work in a way that designers typically work, which is I have this idea, which it could be a sketch, and then I can turn this into something that is a little bit more fleshed out and high fidelity. But I'm not a motion designer. But with this, it'd be really cool if I could make a move, and hey, now I can. That's awesome. So I've just augmented my powers really of being a good creative director and stewarding this brand. And I think that's an important term to recognize within that is stewardship, because right now you can't leave AI alone for like 5 minutes without it doing something that you're
yeah,
aghast at.
right. Yeah, it's like GarageBand to bring it back to music or Logic or one of the more sophisticated ones. Like, it's not going to do anything great for you. Like, it can maybe make something mediocre for you,
Mhm.
but you still have to know what you're doing. You still need like whatever Billie Eilish's brother, Phineas. You
Phineas,
still
yeah.
need Phineas to run it, or Skrillex or someone. It's not like, oh wow, it's so much easier to edit in digital than it was with analog
Yeah.
tape. It's like, yeah, it's easier, but you still have to have taste and like an ear and
Yeah.
a
It's
vision.
perspective. I mean,
Hmm.
you are a really good example of that. Your website is not designed. It's
Oh,
not, anything like, and that's your perspective. Your emails don't have they're not even laid out, even though you use ConvertKit,
yeah,
and it's still really impactful. Even like you're the freaking snail from Ditcherville, man. Like,
I'm not the snail. I'm
you
all
are
of
the
them. I'm
snail.
all of them. No, I know who the snail is. Anyway, so I'd rather be the snail than any of the other ones. But yeah, no, I mean, that is a conscious design choice or like anti-design choice, because I'm not going to pay someone to do it and I'll do a crap job. So I'd rather have no design than crappy design.
Yeah.
And with the emails, not that anyone asked, but this is the reason, I want them to look like they came from your brother. Like your brother doesn't send you pictures with like, an email with like a bunch of pictures in it and like, a countdown timer and, all that stuff. I'm not against people doing that. But for me, the vibe I wanted to get across was that it's like
Mm.
one of your buddies sent you an email. That's why they don't have the first name at the top, like most of them do. Because I would never do that if I was emailing my brother. Anyway, design choice.
Great brands aren't created; they're stolen.
Yeah.
In this case, stolen from your brother.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So, geez, looking at the clock, I don't want to. I feel like we could go on forever on any one of these topics, but yeah. So, what should we definitely cover before we wrap?
Well, I've got my 5 points for Stark, which was the answer to the question of why is the subscription model something good for soloists.
Cool.
So I've got them here. I think the first one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save the best one for last.
Okay.
The first one is that you can prove value fast. You just get in and get working. You're not going to go through a rigmarole of onboarding. This is one of the things that's made Conversion Factory very successful. Is people ask us, "What's your onboarding process like?" We say, "We send you a Notion invite. Tell us what you want us to work on." We either get to work road mapping out what that looks like and get started on the first task as soon as we know what it is, or you tell us what you need and we
Mm-hmm.
get going.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
prove value fast.
Simple. Right.
Yes. The second thing is I think it helps you understand where your limits are for some of the questions that clients might ask you. One of my favorite ones is actually based off an email that you sent.
Hmm.
I think it's the snail talking to a client, and it says, "What do you mean you don't know how long this will take?" It's like, "Aren't you supposed to be an expert?"
Right.
And the snail says, "Well, I know how long it would take me, but you're going to be involved, so." And that's true. So we have
Yeah.
at Conversion Factory, we have our V1, market ready V1. This is how long it will take us to get you a V1. We
Mm-hmm.
offer unlimited revisions.
Mm-hmm.
So every revision that you take, figure that's another 24 to 48 hours, depending on the intensity of said revision.
Mm-hmm.
And those are controlled by you,
Yeah.
Mr. Client, not us.
Cool.
It's number two. Number three is you get really used to providing guardrails with yes and answers. So the way that this model works is you have to have some kind of limit to what people can put on their plate. Like if you were at a buffet, it's like you only get one plate. So whatever you can fit on there, that's all that we work on. And for us, it's you have different work rates at different tiers. You have 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time concurrently.
Mm-hmm.
So people will ask, can we also work on this? We'll say, yes. And we will do it after we are done with this first thing that is in progress. Or they might come in with something that's really urgent. Say, hey, we need to work on this. Say, we're working on this currently. Do you want to work on this one or this one?
Yeah.
Make your choice.
Yep.
Fourth one, and this is really huge, is system implementation. This model does not work unless you have systems in place for getting calls booked with you, getting email follow-up, having their dashboard ready to go. You need to have all of that architected so that you can do this very effectively and not want to pull your hair out. I don't have any hair, so it doesn't really matter, but system implementation. And you will uncover systems to things that you didn't even know were systemized. Like my phrasing, I say pull strings now because I'm delivering client work. Here's my phrase for that. Connect the links, done. If I was really tech savvy, I'd have my keyboard shortcuts to be like, with the commands. I'm not there yet. I speak now instead, thanks to AI,
Nice.
into the mic, and then type it. But that's a different story. So system implementation, another big thing that this brings about. The last one is at the very least, consider this a different arrow in your quiver for pricing. And we do this as well because one of the favorite lines that I heard in 2025, it's from Jocko Willink, is there's no solutions, only trade-offs.
Mm.
And we've had clients come and ask us and say, hey, can we get, a fixed bid for this? We say, sure. Here are the trade-offs that you have to consider. On this fixed bid, we're only going to offer 2 revisions per deliverable. The fixed price is going to be a little bit higher than what we think the estimated time it will be on the subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Once you pay this, we're locked in. There is no first month guarantee for this, and you're going to pay more upfront than you would for this first month. You're also not going to have a flexible scope unless you want to get a change order or something else like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we list things out as not a good versus bad, as a set of trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
I can charge you upfront for this work and this completed deliverable. I can charge you for access to me at different rates. And both of those have trade offs inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one do you prefer? Do you want the flexible scope? Subscription is going to be a good choice for you. Do you want turnarounds every 48 hours? Like as soon as we get something done, we're going to send it over to you. Or do you want batched work sent on Thursdays, which is what we would do on a fixed bid? So, I think that's the coolest thing about this is it's just another way of thinking about how to charge people.
And do you actually do that still, or is
Oh yeah,
subscription the only option? Okay.
no, we have our audit, which is $1,000, and that's a fixed diagnostic, and then we have our subscriptions, which vary in work rate, and then we have our custom project, which start at $25,000. So people will sometimes ask, and then we say, sure, this is what it would look like for this stuff. And the cool thing about the subscription is that it does give you kind of a barometer for like, this is how many tasks I think are tallied up within this. This
Mm-hmm.
gives me a good gauge for what a fixed price offer should be, so I don't feel bad. Like if I want to give a price that's comparable to this subscription, I'm going to charge a little bit more because I'm going to say this is fixed. It's a guaranteed
Yeah.
price.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the subscription, it's largely contingent on you and the revisions that you want to make.
Right.
And giving them that option. It's like, uh, with my daughter, when she wants to go outside and go for a walk, but she gets kind of fussy, we say, we're in the street. You can hold mommy's hand or you can hold daddy's hand. Which hand do you want to hold?
Choice. Right.
Exactly. And then she feels in control, like she's making the choice herself. And then she chooses the one that, I mean, obviously she chooses her mom.
Yeah.
She's going to choose the one she's going to choose the one that's the best fit for her.
Right.
And clients are going to do the same.
I totally agree with that. I was more curious if you would just consider them to be a bad fit client and you only wanted to do the subscription stuff, but that's a great point. So it's like, it's not necessarily all or nothing for people listening and maybe wanting to start out. Probably doesn't make sense to start out by hiring. I mean, that wouldn't make a ton of sense. If you're a soloist now, it would just be like, okay, so here are some options. It reminds me of my advice to people when they've been doing hourly and they're nervous about or confused about switching to value-based pricing. It's like, well, just do everything the same as you always do. Next client comes along, do everything the same as you always do. Scope like crazy in the sales meeting, create an estimate. And then the one thing you're going to do differently is take your estimate and multiply it by 1.85 and offer that as a fixed price.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it makes explicit in the client's decision-making mechanism that there is a risk difference between those two things. And a lot of them don't want to take the risk. They don't want to go back to their boss or partner and say, it turns out this software project's going way over budget. They'd much rather pay the premium to get the fixed price in some cases. In other cases, they'll be like, no, I'll roll the dice. I don't think it's actually going to take as long as you estimated. And I think you're overestimating how hard it's going to be, and I'll gamble. So like one of them's a gamble, one of them's not. It's sort of similar to the subscription. It's like one way you could approach it or, offer it. And then the other way would be some kind of fixed model.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. I don't think the other folks that are in Ditcherville or other people I've talked to, I don't think they also offer alternatives outside of the subscription model.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I came at it in reverse, and because, I'm a huge fan of Blair Enns and David C. Baker and Chris Do. And, I've got a wealth of pricing knowledge under my belt. You should really read this one book, Learn Your Lines, or Hourly Billing is Nuts.
Because he has the checks in the mail.
Yeah. Or Pricing Creativity, or,
Yep.
any of those other books that are fantastic about or Time's Up, which is Ron Baker's book
Yep.
on the subscription model.
Yeah.
And I see like, well, pricing is supposed to be just as creative as the work that I'm doing.
Right.
So why would I not give this as an option? Because they might want it. And some of them do, like some people I want this thing. and that's it. It's great.
I
You
have
want
to
to,
ask though, is it still no meetings?
yep.
So it's the same interaction. It's just the way the work is scheduled or
Yeah.
something or
The only real difference is that we do batched work on Thursdays. So we plow through as much as we can on, uh, like, cause they're going to get a set amount of revisions. And it's on them to review, because we've sent over things like 6 different pages of copy for review on those fixed projects. Because then our goal is you clearly want this done fast for a fixed price. We're going to get it to you. And that's part of the trade-off. It's like,
Mhm.
on the subscription, you're paying less upfront for a confined work rate, but you're also going to get work within 24 hours, 48 hours, what have you. You're going to get unlimited revisions on it. And so I'm trying to make them see the nuance between
Yeah,
those. It's
that's
like,
great.
you only get 2 revisions. If you want more, then get more. If you want a flexible scope, pick a flexible scope. Neither of those things are bad
Hmm.
or good. It's up to you to decide what's going to be the best fit for you as a client.
Cool. Great. Well, that's a great place to leave it. And we're just about right on time. So fantastic. Good work.
Thanks,
Well, I
man.
look forward to bringing you back maybe at the end of 2026 for the year end wrap up. See if you're up to 50 employees or what's next.
50 employees within 1 year is that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, maybe more AI or something in between.
Yeah, 50 AI agents. Cool, man.
Cool. So, could you tell folks where they can find out more about Conversion Factory or anything else you're doing online?
Sure. So I think the best person to follow online actually is going to be my co-founder, Corey Haynes. You can find him at Corey Haynes. That is his Twitter handle, or X. Sorry, whatever it is.
Mm.
Just Google him. He's quite Googleable. Uh, you can find out more about what Conversion Factory is doing. We also have a podcast called The Factory Floor, which where we share marketing insights for software companies. And if you aren't necessarily interested in that, but just want to hear a couple of three nerds and weirdos having a warm up topic before their podcast, we have a segment called The Break Room that is
Nice.
usually about Lord of the Rings, or one of my co-founders will have a silly quiz for us to take, or Star Wars, or whatever, just to get the juices flowing.
Nice. That sounds great. Well, thanks so much for joining us and sharing all of this like fascinating and useful information.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, folks. I'm Jonathan Stark, and that's it for this week. I hope you join me again next time for Ditching Hourly. Bye.